So I started this documentary looking to kind of make me feel like my life mattered, that my action mattered. And what I found out was that, there is actually a different way of looking at the world. That there is hope, that there's actually things that are going on that are pretty extraordinary. In terms of food, why I chose to focus on food was that food is not only, I think, the most exciting of all of these movements, because it's probably the most grassroots, the most international, the most encompassing of these movements, but also I think it's also the most intimate and the most direct. Not only is food, tasty and personal and cultural and pleasurable, but it affects you like directly, your health. But you can also see the effect on the world, or on your community instantly. So it's that kind of a microcosmos of all of the problems, at the same time that it's it can become a microcosmos of the solutions. What this taught me, I guess, is that the way our society functions today is kind of in this linear model. This is kind of the way, even the industrial system functions. Get a cup of coffee in the morning and then we throw it out. We, get a new bedroom set and then we throw it away when we no longer need it. And like everything in our life, everything is extracted and then dumped. And so is our life in some way. Everything is expendable, everything is a commodity. And in that perspective, it feels, I think that's that part of that feeling of what's the point, This other world that I discover is sustainability, where everything has a place. In a rainforest or in any type of ecosystem, nothing is wasted, everything has a place, So whether it's water or manure or microbes or the sunlight or animals, everything fits to create life. And there is nothing that's wasted, nothing that doesn't have a role to play. And when you see yourself as part of a web of life, when you see yourself as part of an ecosystem, then it's an empowering way of looking at things, because then you too have a role to play. As you mentioned, there is the fastest growing movement, not only in the US but worldwide. The fastest growing movement for sure are people that are no longer are fighting industrialization, are people that want to know where their food comes from, want to feel good about what they eat, not only in terms of eating things that are healthy, but they want to know that the food that they're eating is actually good for their community, that it's treating animal properly, that it's not hurting the environment, that there is incredible concern about, and interest in and understanding about the impact of the food that people are eating. And it's still very, very small, but it's growing fast. And movement can reach a tipping point anytime. It's like it's small, and then suddenly you reach a certain level, and it can take over. One of my characters is a fairly old professor in economics from Missouri, and he says that in his lifetime he saw this system happen, this system of agriculture happen. It's not that old. It didn't used to be huge supermarket. It didn't used to be, consolidated food system. This is new. This system used to be small farms, small markets. So this happened within a couple generations. And he said, the same way it happened within his lifetime, it can happen again. And it just takes one person at a time, to make it happen. So it can go in both directions. It's still very much dominated by the multinational, but there is enormous amount of energy going in the opposite direction.